The world has flipped upside down with AI right now, and everything is changing. Guys, Kyle Corbett here with Kyle Corbett Consultation. And right now I'm broadcasting from Puerto Vallarta with Seas Life Tall Ship. And as a lot of you guys know, I do a lot in marketing and digital marketing in particular. AI is going crazy right now. Okay, after OpenAI, after everything came out a couple of years ago and we started doing AI, things have gotten kind of haywire crazy. So one of the coolest things you could do with AI is a little bit more advanced than the normal person's scope of how you would want to use it, like writing code and having it be able to insert Python code for you, for instance. It can do a lot, and for the average person to be able to make a really basic code and actually make something that can be put on a real platform and actually like used on a cell phone, just from prompting a system to give them the code, to know where to put that in and to know how to use some of the elements like GitHub and Python or other creating softwares are a little bit more advanced. But people are starting to learn how to use it more and more and more. So what I was curious about a couple years ago, if this was going to happen, I learned how to do a little bit of coding with it. So I kind of wondered, are the real coders out there going to grab this and go a different direction? Is it going to put them out of work, or is it going to give them like a whole nother advantage? And it did. Normally software applications take a long time to get actually like produced. So Silicon Valley isn't exactly cranking these things out in like 1 week's time. It takes a while for the software to actually be developed well enough to the point where it can be utilized for the public and trustworthy to be on the Google Play Store or the iPhone's Apple Store, or run on your desktop computer. So it takes a while to get these things going, and they have to develop a lot of different things. GitHub's an area where people put different codes and things, where designers of this type, it's kind of an open source platform. And the cool thing about designing and coding in that kind of area, once you get a little bit more techy and advanced, is that everything is really open, everyone shares everything. And that's the crazy thing about AI, is that once everyone was able to get access to the ability to create code and make things happen a lot faster, think about the people who actually develop softwares. What they've been able to do is use AI in a whole different way. Now, I'm sure you guys have all seen all the ads out there and articles about how much AI is changing the world and going crazy, but most people have no idea what that is. You just see all these different brands, and I think everyone's kind of seeing it the same way I was prior to doing more of a deep dive this last several months and more over the last couple of years since it came out. Everyone kind of just thinks, hey, ChatGPT, yeah, I know how to use it. DeepSeek, just another ChatGPT. Gemini, just another ChatGPT. All the big platforms and the big companies have their own. Apple's actually stinks, believe it or not. It just hasn't worked well. It's not getting well rated by any of the developers or designers. And being a developer myself, I develop web pages and have several different web pages that I run, and that's kind of my forte as a business owner, is creating web pages. That's all web pages, and marketing my products and services. It's how I get most of my leads for my consultation, and how I sell tickets on board my ship in Puerto Vallarta here. So using it as a developer is a whole different situation, because there's so many different softwares coming out now. Most common people aren't spending that much on SaaS services. And when I say SaaS services, a lot of people don't even know what that means. And what it stands for is software as a service. And software as a service essentially just means anything that's running on your computer that you're paying for regularly to use. Now, there's lots of different ones out there. There's tons and tons of them. Now, business owners use several of them. We use them, a lot of CRMs, customer relationship management softwares, and we use a lot of booking platforms, APIs on our websites, ways to take payments, and these are all different programs we use, and a lot of them are SaaS services. Like, I've got to pay a fee to be able to take someone's credit card on my website to a company that's doing the credit card processing. So all these SaaS services kind of add up, and as a business owner, before closing down San Diego sailing tours, for the most part, moving on from our lease in San Diego, we had, I think, over $1,500 at one point. I was looking back through the books, and SaaS services every month. And so there's a lot of different things we pay to keep our websites going. You have to pay a hosting platform. You have to pay that keeps it live online. I manage several different ones, and I also have clients that can host theirs with me sometimes as well if they need to, or that I'll host for them in the meantime while we're working on a project. But these are all things that I pay a monthly fee for to be able to manage. Just to register all the websites that I have, we have to pay a monthly fee for that as well. And so what's happening right now is all the monthly fees that I'm paying, I'm looking at solutions, and especially not operating San Diego sailing tours at the larger scale with 13 or 15 employees, and Seas Life being, 5 employees, probably at the max most of the time. It's a lot smaller, so I'm developing, hey, what's our budget look like for SaaS services to keep the website for Seas Life going as best it can? Same for my own consultation at kylecorbett.com. And I'm noticing that a lot of these other solutions that I've used in the past can now be taken care of by the newer AI programs. Now, they're not just all like ChatGPT. I can do a lot with ChatGPT, and I've actually figured out how to code web pages now in the Divi theme that I usually use, which is really cool. I can have it write web pages for me and speed myself up in the process of web design. The crazy thing is now these developers who are really professionals in the field of science and technology, I mean, the real code writers that were developing the software that we use prior to there being AI in the world, those developers they've essentially taken AI and utilized it as the backbone of the softwares they're providing, and can do all kinds of crazy things now that you wouldn't normally be able to do by using ChatGPT or DeepSeek or Gemini or any of the AIs out there. You wouldn't be able to utilize it in the way that the developers are, because they know how to put the code together, and now they can get things out there way, way faster. So it's almost mind-boggling, because things that used to take weeks and weeks or months, even years to get to market, are now getting there a lot faster. And what they're able to do with the AI capability in writing the software, not only can they write new software, now the AI is embedded within the software, so their software is 10 times more powerful, and they can build it that much faster. And there's a bunch of different ones I'm starting to use right now as well. In fact, this video is going to be going through one, and there's a good chance that if you're watching a clip of this video, I didn't cut that clip. If you're watching this video and it's less than 10 minutes long, well, guess what? AI put this together for me. And I'll show you guys a few of the programs I'm using, but it's not so much about the programs I'm using. What I want to do is make a video here that teaches people kind of where AI is and give you a general understanding, like almost as if I'm explaining it to my near 70-year-old mother, teaching her how to use her iPhone again. Because a lot of people don't understand what AI is doing right now, just like they don't understand if you haven't built a website or marketed a product or service or sold things on a website, you might not be watching the same kind of YouTube videos I've been watching for the last several years about how to optimize our sales on those products, affiliate sales, how to put in links different places and make money from selling someone else's product. These are all things that are regular in my wheelhouse and in consulting and helping my clients, but they're not necessarily things that are regular for the public to understand. So to know the pace at which technology is moving and the pace at which you will be left behind if you don't pick it up quick and learn is really important to know. But you don't need to watch the stuff I'm watching to learn the software programs and actually know how to use them. No, you don't have to do that. But you do need to understand which direction it's going and kind of how this is working and why everyone keeps saying the world is going so fast and we're accelerating at a light speed pace. I'm starting to see it now, and I didn't get it before. But now that I'm coding web pages myself, and last night I kind of made the decision to fire 2 of the marketing firms I'm using. I've got a marketing firm on one website and one on another, and they've really kind of been not doing that great this year, and they keep having errors on the page. It doesn't look that great. I could do better if I spent the time to work on it myself. And I last night started to do a little bit of it myself. Said, hey, I'm tired of these guys not doing what they're supposed to. And so I started coding a web page or 2 myself, a couple of landing pages for kylecorbett.com for my book, and to give away a couple of free chapters. By the way, there'll be a free chapter there very shortly, most likely the page coded by AI. And I started building it myself. I realized I'm most likely going to fire these 2 marketing firms, and each one of them is probably about $250 to $500 for their regular management each month. Maybe a little bit more, $750 to $1,000 at max, I'd say, for the few services they're providing, depending on what services we have them doing at any time. But I'm noticing I could do it myself better if I took the time. And now if I can teach AI to do it, not only can I do it better with ChatGPT, there's a whole bunch of other programs out there that allow me to not need to hire a staff member, but maybe to spend an hour. Now, it's not free, guys. The AI doesn't just do it all for you. You have to learn how to use it and train it and program it, which is the hard part. But all these extra programs out there are going to allow me to actually probably spend an hour of my time and replace an entire employee that I would hire for the day. I've got one personal assistant right now working half-time, and it doesn't look like I'm going to need to hire up the support staff that I would normally need to promote my book and my consultation and the tours on board my boat. The tools are kind of already there for me. So I had a couple little notes here I wanted to go over just because people don't know what's really going on. And essentially what's happening is we're accelerating the pace at which things are capable in technology. So if you remember how long it was when we went from VHS tapes to DVDs, Blu-ray was in the middle there as well. How long did it take from going from the Razor flip phone and the Nokias and the little square block phones to the point where we had cooler ones, and then we had flip phones, and then we had what was before that, pagers, and then once we had car phones before that connected inside your car. So technology's gone progressively to where it is now. It's brought us to where we are today. However, now the whole game has changed because the developers now don't need to figure out the code or find a human being who's already figured it out and use the part the human being figured it out, another human being who figured out part of that code, and then add that to what he's working on, which is how it always worked before. And most people don't know that. The way coding in websites and applications has always worked, especially software programs of any kind, is that there are codes in the public forum that people create. People spend lots of time writing these codes and figuring out how to make it work right, and then they put those codes up there to the public and say, hey, here's the code I made to do this, and here it is for everybody else who wants to use it. Now, to create an actively working software program, you need lots and lots of different codes that are going to work together. So that's where these kind of cookie cutter pieces that already exist on the internet that other humans have made. Now that we have AI can make anything we want, which means not only is there the capability to make anything new, we've already got all the human created code out there that AI can source from and pull as well, like GitHub and other areas that are already running this kind of software. So now the time it took for going from one type of technology like a VHS tape to a DVD, or from a pager to a smartphone, is accelerated times, I don't think I can say 10x, probably closer to 100 or 1,000x how fast it's moving. So I've gone over the developers a little bit. The kinds that there are is not what you guys think. It's what they're building in softwares that already have this developed into it. And this is also something I've thought is kind of funny for the last 6 to 12 months. At least, it's 2026 now, we're in January. At least a year ago, we already had all of the main platforms like Google, Facebook, I can go down the list. All the big tech companies already rolled it out. Apple, Samsung, they all rolled out their own version of the AI into the software we're already using, like Google.com, the search engine. It's already been there. And a lot of people would be reading information and like quoting stuff off of it. And I always thought it was funny, like just at least this last year or so, because you see the little like symbol for the Gemini or for the cloud. I get confused on them. There's so many different brands out there now. But I am going to go over some of them and let you guys know kind of what they are. The advanced ability for marketers and content creators, the people who make the stuff we consume on social media and our computers and on our phones all day long, their ability is gone skyrocket. But it's the people who are at the intermediate and higher level in understanding how the computer or phone work, and developers and those of us who are working in that area. And I'm on the lower end of that area. People on the high end, they're soaring and doing things that we could never do before, at paces that we could never do them. So essentially all these big ones is deep language models, like the ChatGPTs and the DeepSeeks and the Geminis. All those are deep language models, and they learn, and what they're really doing right now is showing us how to do anything and answer anything for us, but eventually they're going to be doing for us entirely. And now having the language and the learning and the ability that they have with that technology is where we get it gets really tricky, because now that technology can make code for us, and that code can create a software program that can utilize that super smart, intelligent artificial intelligence to do additional things that we want it to do that aren't currently available to us. And those are kind of the technologies that are coming out now. And it's getting pretty tricky how neat it's getting. And we're gonna find out what happens with this video I'm recording right now, because I'm gonna throw it through a couple of AI generators and find out what the AI is actually capable of doing. Now, I've made some stuff online already. Some of it's pretty goofy, and I've been trying for the last couple of years. I threw a few bikini model pictures up that I made on AI for San Diego sailing tours. And I'm gonna throw up a few more. I pulled up one of the programs that I've got to log into, and I probably got 20 of them. I'm gonna post some of the stuff, and now it goes from kind of really goofy to almost creepy, professionally not that goofy. So you guys stay tuned for that. Now, where I use it the most is in web design. All the weird things you can do with it are neat and all, but the cool thing is that these bigger developers and the people who really have been studying code and are software designers for all these years, they are taking a hold of this and going a whole different direction than we even know how to. So yeah, we can do cool stuff with it. What's coming down the pipe is really, really cool, because the softwares that they're making are able to make us much more powerful as marketers, as content creators. And there are a lot of jobs that are gonna disappear. I have already disappeared. I've deleted jobs. Last year I was able to do, I think, 2 different people's jobs. About a position and a half I was able to do. About a year and a half ago, actually, almost 2 years ago, I was able to replace roughly 1.5 employees throughout the week. So that's 60 hours that I didn't need to have a human being in the office doing things, because AI was able to do it, which is pretty crazy just for a small business running sailing tours. And that was at San Diego Sailing Tours in the office there. Now, was it as powerful? Did I get as much done? No, a human being would have been better in almost every aspect. However, did I get the content out there and kind of check the boxes for what I needed to get my marketing kind of goals fulfilled and enough content out there to keep us going? Yeah, I did. So that's kind of the tricky part. It's almost like, if you have it, should you use it? So with web design, I'm gonna make some cool new stuff on my website. You're also gonna be able to buy a couple more, new things, and have some monetizable, purchasable products on there. And you're also gonna see a bunch of social media stuff come out, and jump on Impulse Upgrade podcast. We're gonna have some cool stuff coming out there. And then we are going into kind of a new world here, and being an entrepreneur and small business startup, a bootstrapper and kind of specialist in that, I'm gonna be on a few different podcasts. I've gotten a couple different offers recently, so stay tuned. And we're gonna be having AI automate and chop up a lot of what we're doing as much as possible, so we can show you guys how we're using it. This is kind of like between the super dummy doesn't know how to use even ChatGPT, the basics, in between there and your intermediate, already a minor coder or developer level. So for the layperson to understand how it works and maybe have a slightly better grasp on it, and you might even find a couple software programs that you'll be able to use. That's kind of my goal. And it's for, again, the layperson, for you guys who don't spend your time building websites and coding apps and marketing products and consulting people and that kind of stuff. If you're not in that field, or in areas where you might be the first people to use this stuff, because we can really use it, and it's really powerful. And I'm just my head's spinning in how much I'm learning. I'm staying until 3 or 4 in the morning most nights now, and just consuming, learning about new softwares that are coming out almost daily. And the ones that are out there are adopting different ways to use the AI that are very creative and new. And so a lot of the programs that you already use have AI now that you can use in whole different ways that you probably wouldn't even imagine. And a lot of that most people don't even know is there. Basic programs like Excel. I think Word has one they're rolling out. They might already be in Microsoft Word. But I'm finding these AI integrations almost everywhere. And now you can integrate AI at your will using APIs, and it's getting tricky. Mainly, I want you guys to be able to take away from this that you can operate AI. You can utilize the different softwares and platforms that are out there. It is a good idea to start learning what they are. I don't think you need to learn what all 100 new, big software companies are out there that you'll see advertised all over the internet. There's probably a couple thousand of them. There's probably about 100, I'd guess, that are pretty big. And you don't need to know all of them. of the top probably 25 to 50 probably is my guess, is how many are out there that are actually like large software programs that will probably be used to knowing's name in the future. You probably need to know maybe 5 or 10 of them. But if you know at least a couple of them and how it works, it's going to be easier for you to understand the next curve in learning and technology. Because those who don't understand the prompt engineering, or at least how these things are working, are likely going to have a little bit of a stutter bump in not knowing how to do a lot of things coming in the future. Like those who are late to adopt the smartphone and didn't get one for the longest time, it's a little more difficult for them to answer texts or log into things, or even log into the government's tax benefits or whatever they have to do, which is kind of mandatory nowadays. You have to be able to use the internet. Well, this is going to another level, and you're going to have to be able to understand artificial intelligence and know a little bit about how to use it. So we'll get going on that in just a minute here. I think I got most of the notes for today. I'm going to show you cool things you can do in web design with it, and more importantly right now, I'm going to give you some cool content you can consume like this, and I'm going to show you what I'm using to do it in social media as well, and in AI, which of the AI platforms I'm uploading things to and then putting online. So I'll also show you kind of what does and doesn't work. I've prompted certain things that like just don't work at all, and like you get weird results. And I've also prompted other things that I don't think are going to work at all, and all of a sudden I get amazing results. And oftentimes when I over prompt the system, it actually gives me better results than not. And so it's a little bit tricky in that way, but knowing how to talk to it and how to teach it is kind of a huge part, and using it. But don't just use it like it's Google. You want to understand a bit how it's working and what the world is doing with it. I think that's the biggest part. Knowing what it's capable of is pretty huge, and like knowing how to see it. The more you know about it, and the more you've seen kind of how it works, the more you're going to be able to detect if something on social media is real or AI. All right, guys, stay tuned. The world's going kaboom, but we're going to teach you. Put on some goggles and watch the fireworks. Hell, there's a lot of really cool tools out there. Who cares if you're unemployed now? Just sit on the couch, you got an iPhone. No, I guess you can't afford one if you're unemployed, huh? Oh, don't worry, AI will teach you a million ways to make money online. And that's true. It's just not as simple as it sounds. Understanding the root form of the whole system and really what AI is and where technology is going, and the big differences right now. And the difference is speed. The difference is timing, and how fast things are going to be coming online, and how fast technology can now develop upon itself. Now that is going to be the big game changer that I think a lot of people are not quite grasping onto. Think about how fast cars went from Henry Ford's original to now, and the technology that we have in a Tesla. Now, imagine that technology and all cars technology and how fast all the features have come over the years, better and better and better and better and better. First cars didn't have navigation systems, maps, things like that, computers, screens inside of them. Now it's just gotten progressively better. Well, the pace that can go is now 10x. So now car manufacturers can make that leap in technology at least 10, maybe 100 or 1,000 times faster. So it's gonna be really interesting what comes out. Stay tuned. I'm gonna give you the basics and kind of teach you where the world is going with AI and why there's so many programs out there and what it really means for you. Thanks, guys. Always upgrade your impulse, or just be impulsive. We're all impulsive, but make sure your impulse is one that you're proud of. I'm Kyle Corbett. We'll talk AI soon.